Hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech, and in this video we will be unboxing the Xiaomi Redmi 7. So guys, this is currently the latest and cheapest phone from Redmi in 2018, and this phone just starts at 8,000 rupees. So I'll talk about pricing later, but first let's have a quick look at the phone or the box itself. So on the front it has the regular packaging, Xiaomi's branding, it even says India's #1 brand, followed by a preview of how the phone looks, and it simply says Redmi at the bottom. Now on the sides, once again it says Redmi. That's the same thing on the right side as well. At the top we have some specifications, box contents and so on. At the bottom it is completely plain. And on the back we have the most highlighting features, IMEI numbers, pricing and information, and so on. Now without any further delays, let's quickly unbox it. By the way guys, this phone is sold in two variants. Base variant is priced at 8,000 rupees for 2GB of RAM and 32GB of storage. And the next variant is priced at 9,000 rupees for 3GB of RAM and 32GB of storage. It is available in three colors: Eclipse Black, Lunar Red and Comet Blue. We have the base variant with 2GB of RAM in the black color. So once we open the box, we have a cardboard package, and inside it we probably have a SIM card ejector, and following that is some documentation. This is the user guide and this is some warranty information, I guess. Next we have a soft silicone pouch in black color. I'm pretty sure it's in black because we have the black color. If we have some other color like blue or red, it might be completely transparent. Anyway, this is something I really like. Now going on, next we have the phone itself. I'll come back to it in a minute. So let's keep going forward. So here's the 10 watts per adapter with 5 volts at 2 amps, and this phone probably doesn't support fast charging. Next we have the regular micro USB charging cable. So these are all the contents of the box. As usual, there are no earphones, just in case if you're wondering. Now coming back to the phone, once again it has a sticker on the front with highlighting features like the Snapdragon 632 and so on. And if you look at the screen protector or screen guard kind of a thing, at the top it has a small cutout over here. It probably has a proximity sensor. Let me just remove that. Now even on the back it has a pretty big cover. Let me just remove that as well. And some warning information, IMEI numbers and so on, which we can remove as well. So guys, this is how the phone looks without any stickers whatsoever, and it definitely looks much more premium than the previous Redmi series phone. That's the Redmi 6. Now let me put on the case and see how good it's gonna look. So guys, this is how the phone looks with the case on. As it's black, it has a nice stealthy look to it. Even with the case on, buttons are sufficiently clickable. It even protects the camera module by a teeny tiny raised lip. It's not much, but it does offer some protection, but I won't rely on that much. With that said, it doesn't offer any kind of protection for the display. So all that this case does is offer you some additional grip and keep your phone much cleaner because the back is a fingerprint magnet. So for now you can use this, but get a better one as soon as possible, as the phone is a fingerprint magnet and definitely feels slightly slippery. So guys, now let's have a quick physical overview and then check out the complete specifications of this phone. On the back, this phone has a plastic back panel with a fiberglass. Underneath it, it's completely black. As it's black, we probably don't have any fancy effects going on. Now starting from the top, it has a dual camera setup with a 12 megapixel primary camera with f2.2 aperture and a 2 megapixel secondary camera for taking portrait shots. That's followed by a single LED flash and an engraving that says AI dual camera. Beside that, it has a circular fingerprint scanner with a nice matte finish, and at the bottom it says Redmi by Xiaomi. Now on the front, it sports a 6.2-inch IPS display with HD+ resolution with the new dot drop notch. It has the new 19:9 aspect ratio, and because of the smaller bezels all around, it has 86.83% screen to body ratio, which is kinda okay for a Redmi phone in this price segment. It has a 2.5D curved Corning Gorilla Glass for protection, so that's again a pretty great thing. Inside that dot drop notch, it has an 8 megapixel front facing camera with f2.0 aperture, and above that it has a pretty huge earpiece grill. Now coming to the sides, on the right side it has a power and volume buttons made of plastic. They have a good clicky feel to them, but they are not sufficiently elevated. At least I wish they popped out a bit more. At the top it is an infrared blaster, 3.5mm audio jack and the secondary microphone for noise cancellation. On the left side we just got the SIM card tray housing 2 nano SIM slots along with the dedicated SD card slot. At the bottom you have 2 speaker grills, one for the primary microphone and another one for the mono speaker, and at the center we have the micro USB charging port. So guys, that was the physical overview. Now as for the rest of the specifications, under the hood this phone sports Snapdragon 632 processor with Adreno 506 GPU with 2GB of RAM and 32GB of storage. This phone is running MIUI version 10.2 based on Android 9.0, that's Android Pie. Now powering all this is a 4000 mAh battery. which is probably a first in its series. Now with all this phone has a thickness of 8.47 mm and weighs just 180 grams. So guys, now for some very quick initial impressions, just on the overall design and build. It definitely feels much more premium than the previous Redmi 6 phone, but there seems to be some kind of quality issue going on, like 100% fixed. There seems to be some gap between. Maybe my unit was defective. By the way guys, this is not a review unit, I purchased it on Amazon, so there might be some quality issues going on with the retail units as well. Now coming to the overall design and build, as I've said, it definitely feels premium. It has a bit of weight to it, like it weighs 180 grams, but doesn't feel all that heavy because of good weight distribution. As far as the display goes, bezels are quite big on this phone, like compared to other phones in the price segment. Especially this chin over here is really huge. So that was the initial impressions. Now let me turn on the phone and see what we get right out of the box. So that's the first boot and it says Redmi by Xiaomi. Now let me just fast forward a bit while I configure this phone. So it is running MIUI 10 right out of the box. I was wrong earlier. By the way guys, haptic feedback is kinda okay. Like it's not good or awesome, but it's kinda okay. It might turn into disappointment later, but for now it's manageable. Now the setup process has been completed. Now waiting over here, I've noticed that there is a light bleeding going on over here. I really hope my display is not defective. I'll talk more about it once the phone boots up. So guys, this is how the phone looks once we turn it on. This is the default launcher. This is your smart assistant. So you don't have an app drawer, so all the apps are thrown to the home screen, and it seems to be having some bloatware like these applications like Paytm and so on. So you can disable them or install them later. So for now, let's check out the storage settings. So out of that 2 GB of RAM, we get about 1.1 GB of free RAM right out of the box. Now as for the storage goes, out of that 32 GB of storage, we get about 22.5 GB of space for your user apps and user data. That's definitely more than sufficient, as this phone also comes with a dedicated SD card slot. Now let's go to settings and check out the about page. So this phone is running MIUI version 10.2 based on Android 9.0, that's Android Pie. And it is running the March security patch, which is kinda okay. Now let's check out the camera interface. By the way guys, cameras on this phone are good for a Redmi phone in this price, but they are not the specialty of this series. Like if you really want better cameras under 10,000 rupees from a Redmi phone, consider buying the Redmi Y3. Anyway, this is the interface for the rear camera and it looks exactly like all the Xiaomi phones. You can swipe left or right to switch between all these modes. You have the portrait mode over here and you also get AI mode. You can enable it from here. Now this is the interface for the front facing camera, and initial impressions not so impressive. It is overexposing my face a lot, and for the front camera it doesn't offer any kind of AI feature, so that's a bit surprising. Anyway guys, this is the interface and you can record video even at 1080p resolution using both the front and rear cameras, and there seems to be no stabilization on this phone. That's a surprise, or maybe stabilization is enabled by default. I'll let you know more about it in the review. Now these are some sample pictures. Now let's test the speaker loudness. Hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech, and in this video I'll be showing you a pretty good looking case for the Redmi Note 7 and the Note 7 Pro. Now before we get started, let's have a quick look at the phones and what they have right now. So guys, speaker loudness on this phone is pretty good. Like, it's definitely sufficient for ringtones, alarms, and definitely more than sufficient for media consumption. With that said, it's definitely not the loudest speaker I've heard in this price segment. Let's test the fingerprint scanner now. So I've already set it up. Now let's test it. Fingerprint scanner is insanely fast, and because of this small groove, fingerprint scanner is actually easily traceable, so that's a pretty good thing. As you can see, fingerprint scanner is insanely fast. Probably not the fastest in the world, but definitely second or third best. It's definitely instantaneous. Now let me just quickly set up face unlock feature, add facial data and enter your password. It seems to have registered it. Let's check the settings for a second. So we'll just use that. Now let's test the face unlock feature. And it works, and it is pretty quick. Not the fastest in the world. Definitely not as fast as the Realme 3. I can clearly see the lock screen, but it's usable in good lighting conditions. Now let me turn off all the bigger lights. So even in low lighting conditions, it is working pretty quickly. Now let me just close my eyes and see if it works. So if my eyes are closed, it doesn't work. Now let me turn off all the lights and see if it works or not. So guys, now all the lights have been turned off and face unlock doesn't work. So in complete darkness, it simply doesn't work. So guys, face unlock works really well in good lighting conditions and low lighting conditions, but in complete darkness, it simply doesn't work. Now let me just quickly show you around the user interface. So this is MIUI, a custom skinned version of Android, and probably one of the best skinned versions out there. So this is your recent apps page, and if you want to use split screen mode, you need to long press an icon, then click this button to use split screen mode. You can select the secondary application from the list over here, or else you can go to the home screen and select it from here. Now this is your notification area, and these are your toggles, and this over here is the brightness slider, a pretty cool one at that. And next, this is your volume control, and this is the new MIUI 10 style one. It's bigger and much more easily accessible, and you can put your phone to silent by just click of a button. Just click it over here and your phone is in silent mode. And if you click over here, you get some additional options, like you can use this toggle, and after 30 minutes your silent mode will be disabled automatically, or else you can also go with do not disturb mode. So that's the user interface. And now let me show you the fancy gestures of MIUI. So to enable them, go to settings, then select full screen display. Now select this option over here, and then let's just go back. Make sure you enable this toggle. Now as you can see, there is no navigation bar, and if you want to go home, swipe from the center, that's home. For recent apps, swipe and hold, and these are the recent applications. Let me do that once again. There we go. Now if you want to go back, you can swipe from the left side or the right side to go back. Now let's say if you want to quickly switch between applications, you can simply do a swipe and hold gesture from the sides, whether it's the right side or left side, to quickly switch between applications, like the last two applications. Now while you're using these gestures, we don't have any option to trigger Google Assistant. So to enable that or to use that, we have a nice shortcut. To enable that, go to settings, additional settings, buttons, gestures, and make sure you enable this toggle. Now once you do that, you can trigger Google Assistant by pressing the power button. Just press and hold to trigger Google Assistant, and if you want your power options, press and hold the power button for 3 seconds.
Hi, I'm your assistant, here to help you throughout your day.
So there
Here
you
are
go.
some things you can try saying to get started.
So these are the new things that you should definitely check out on the Redmi 7. Now about that display issue that I talked about earlier, as you can see, there is a clear sign that the display is not functioning to its best, and there is a light bleeding going on at the bottom of the screen. I'll probably get a replacement from Amazon. So if you have similar issue, let me know by commenting below this video, and definitely get a replacement from the place that you bought this phone. Now before we conclude, these are the Antutu and Geekbench scores. So guys, this is the new Redmi 7. Well, as I've said, it definitely looks much better than the Redmi 6, but overall when we compare the price and the competition, it simply doesn't offer you anything awesome. Like for around 8,500 or 9,000 rupees, we still have the Asus Zenfone Max Pro M1 with a Full HD Plus resolution display, 5000 mAh battery, and most importantly a Snapdragon 635 processor. So with a phone like that, or even the Realme 3, I really don't see any reason why you should consider this phone. So guys, overall this might be a good phone, definitely a better phone than the previous generation, but it still is not the best phone in the price segment. There are definitely better phones out there. My recommendation, skip it. So guys, that's pretty much it for this video. Thanks for watching. If you're planning to buy this phone, use the link in the description. It always helps the channel. And if you want us to make any specific video, tweet out to us with the hashtag AskGreedyTech on Twitter and we will try to make it as soon as possible. I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech signing off. Have a nice day.